Welcome to the Sweat Simple podcast. I'm Brooks, and I'm an online fitness, nutrition, and mindset coach who's here to help you learn how to eat and exercise for real life, not just those perfect moments. Because let's be real, there is a lot of conflicting information online, and it can be hard to know what's legit and who to trust. In every episode, I'll be sharing the science and psychology behind health, fitness, and long-lasting behavior change, but I'll also be sharing practical, real-life application because all of the best info in the world only matters if you can apply it to your real life. So grab a coffee, water, glass of wine, or lace up your walking shoes, and let's dive in. Hello, you guys. Welcome back to the Sweat Simple podcast. Today, we are getting real. I am peeling back the curtain a little bit, and we are talking about what I would tell you about follow through if I was your coach. So you are getting a little bit of juicy behind the scenes, what it would be like if I was your current coach to help you follow through, because I know that most of you are in a place where you know what to do, but what you're struggling with is actually doing it in the moment. I hear this so often that I created an entire workshop that I've hosted a couple times all about this. Why you know what to do, but you don't actually do it. This is a behavior change problem 101. This is what I help my clients do all day long. Because the truth is that a lot of you are approaching this piece of the puzzle wrong. I know that I have a lot of type A girlies in my audience who love to plan. You probably bought a million school supplies when you were a kid. You might be an eldest daughter. You're probably a high achiever, and you're approaching your health and fitness the same way by just trying to attack it with a plan. And at the start of every week, you are going into plan mode. I'm going to do better at hitting my calories. I'm not going to hit the drive-through. I'm not having wine until Friday. No late night snacks. You create these rules, you create these lists of things to do because that's your typical default. You like to plan. You attack things with a plan. You like rules. You like structure. You like routine. So you're approaching your health and fitness in the same way. I'm just going to create a plan. I'm going to create rules for myself. I'm going to tell myself what to do. And you're hoping that magically you'll follow through. But currently, no matter how much you want to, and I know you all want to, I'm not one of those coaches who says, well, you just don't want it bad enough. I know how badly you want it, especially if you're that type A higher achiever. Like, I know how hard you're working at this. You're still not following through in the moment. And there is a big reason for that. And if I was your coach, this is what I would tell you about follow through. Planning more and relying on discipline and hoping that these rules and this routine will carry you through is not going to help. If you're having a hard time following through, there is a deeper reason, and just going back to these plans is not going to help. And you probably, if you're honest with yourself, know that. You know that setting this plan week after week is not working. You're trying to force it to work because that's what helps you be successful in every other area of your life. But you know that it's not working because you're not following through. And this planning, it's not helping. Maybe it did work in your 20s too. Like maybe it worked when you had minimal responsibilities and you didn't have kids and work wasn't as busy. And you could just create this plan every week and you could just follow through with it. And you could say, I'm going to get to the gym 6 days a week. And that just happened. But now that you have more responsibilities, maybe your job is more stressful. Maybe you're working longer hours. Maybe you have a pet. Maybe you have kids. Maybe you are going back to school. Like whatever it is, your life circumstances have probably changed quite a bit from your 20s and whenever you were just following a plan. So it no longer feels as easy as meal prepping for 5 hours on Sunday or carving out 45 minutes 6 days a week to go to the gym. you have all of these other external barriers that keep popping up that are making this plan impossible to follow through. And where I see other coaches giving advice that's not really helpful is telling you that you just need to make a more realistic plan. And maybe you've tried that too. Maybe you've said, okay, well, 6 days a week at the gym isn't working. So what if I just started to do 3 days? And okay, telling myself that I'm going to cut out all sweets, like that's not working for me anymore. So I'm going to allow myself to have sweets, but I'm just going to do it in a moderate way. You're still planning, you're still relying on a plan. That is why this isn't working because we are only focusing on the planning piece. Even when we are creating a realistic plan, these realistic plans, that's important, like making sure that the plan is actually realistic, that does come into play. But if that's your only solution, we're still not solving for the reason that the plan felt hard to stick to in the first place. So if I was your coach and I was trying to help you follow through, the first thing I would ask and help you do is help you identify why you're not following through. What is the reason that you are falling off this plan every single week? And maybe it's changing week to week, and that's okay. But maybe it's that when work runs really late, you don't have time to cook dinner, so you turn to the drive-through. Maybe it's that when you get really stressful news and you get overwhelmed with your kids, you start grazing off their plate. Maybe it's that your friends keep inviting you to all these social events on the weekend. And if you can't stick to your original plan, you throw in the towel because you aren't really sure how to navigate it. Like there are multiple reasons, probably multiple, maybe it's just one. There are multiple reasons why you're not following through week after week. Whether it is these external hurdles that are popping up that feel really out of your control and you aren't sure how to manage it, or it might be some of these internal hurdles as well. Maybe you're having these feelings of, I just don't want to. Maybe you're having these feelings of, well, I can't be perfect, so why would I bother? Maybe you're having feelings of, if the scale isn't moving, feeling like there's no point to this. Maybe you're questioning if this is even possible for you. So all of those things are making it hard to follow through. Both these external hurdles that are out of our control and also these internal hurdles that are impacting our ability to follow through. That is step one. We need to figure out, why aren't you following through in the first place? Then step two, as your coach, do you know how to fix that? So let's say that every day after a long day of work, you don't feel like planning, so you go to the drive-through. Do you know how to fix that? Do you know what you would do instead? And don't just say, well, I just need to stick to my meal plan more. We already decided that discipline and willpower, we're not relying on those. That just planning more, we're not relying on those. So do you know how to fix that? Let's say that most of the time when you aren't following through, it's because these I don't want to feelings are popping up. Do you know how to overcome that? Do you have the behavior change skills that you need in order to overcome that? Really think, are you missing any skills that would help you overcome these things? Are you missing behavior change skills that would help you overcome these things? Like, do you know how to fix these problems? I'm going to bet that if you haven't solved it yet, you might not. And if you're sitting here like, yeah, I can clearly identify now why I'm not following through, but I don't know how to solve for that. Or if your brain immediately goes to, okay, well, I'll just plan more, or I'll just plan better, or I'll just rely on or discipline, or I just need to grit down. No, no, no. We already decided at the start of the podcast that's not helpful. That's not the approach we're taking anymore. Though that approach does not work. We need to start learning how to navigate these things and show up anyways. Maybe it's that we need to reduce some of your all or nothing thinking. Maybe we need to learn how to mental contrast. If you're not familiar with that, shoot me a DM. Let's talk about it. Maybe we need to start to work through some of your perfectionist thoughts. Maybe you need to learn how to show up even when these I don't want to feelings pop up. Maybe you need to improve your self-efficacy so that you start to believe that this is actually possible for you. Like, there are so many different reasons why you're not following through, and there are so many different skill sets that we could help you build. And if you aren't sure how to fix it, that is what we would do together in one-on-one coaching. That is what we would solve for. And if you don't solve for this thing, if you don't solve for the reason that you keep falling off or the multiple reasons you keep falling off week after week, you are going to stay stuck. Period. That is tough love. I'm here as your coach to tell you that you are going to stay stuck. You will continue to start every week with a plan, spinning your wheels and not following through. If you want to actually follow through, we can't ignore that mindset piece. We agreed at the start of the podcast that planning and relying on willpower is not working. That just setting rules for ourselves, that just focusing on nutrition and just focusing on exercise, that's not working anymore. We can't ignore this mindset piece. If you're someone who has no problem following through, you are great at executing and you have been making really consistent progress this year, just straight up with you, you don't need coaching. You don't need help. You don't need accountability. You are crushing it on your own. But on the flip side, if you aren't following through, if you find yourself stuck in this pattern week after week, it's not about discipline. We can't ignore this mindset piece. We have to create these strategies. You have to build the tools that are going to help you follow through in the moments that currently you're falling off track. And that's what we do in one-on-one coaching. And truly, you need to decide, are you okay staying stuck in this cycle of planning, not following through, planning, not following through for the next 6 months until the end of the year? If you are, awesome. Let's not work together. Do your thing. But on the flip side, if you aren't, and you're like, yeah, I can't keep doing this. I can't keep not making progress towards my goal. I can't keep ending up frustrated every single week. I can't keep not making myself proud. I need to work through these things because it's now impacting my day to day. Then I would love to work with you in one-on-one coaching. You can apply in my show notes and we will chat all about what this would look like, how we would get you to start following through, so that you can have a really good understanding of what you need to do moving forward in order to be successful. So to wrap it up, first, we need to identify why we're not following through in the first place. Then you need to figure out if you know how to fix that. And if you don't know how to fix it on your own, that's when you're applying for coaching, because I would love to work with you guys. That's all I've got for you. If you have any questions about this or about coaching, always feel free to shoot me a DM on Instagram. I would love to chat more with you guys about this. Otherwise, I will chat with you all next week. I hope you have or I guess every other week. So in 2 weeks. And I'll talk to you soon.